My name is Creed and welcome to Writer's Blockbuster. Today we're going to be looking at a super strange Lovecraft-inspired movie called From Beyond. Starring our heartthrob Jeffrey Combs, this film mixes beings from other dimensions and feelings of extreme euphoria. As Lovecraft often goes, the world beyond our own is one that is hard to comprehend and changes humans down to their very psyche. The story is intense, the practical effects are incredible, and the acting is wonderful and over the top. So switch on the resonator and try to ignore the throbbing in your pineal gland as we talk about what happens in From Beyond. Also, there will be spoilers in this breakdown, so you've been warned. And if you enjoy videos like this, then consider subscribing, because great and unknown film is what this channel is all about. We open with a man named Crawford Tillinghast as he's beginning an experiment. A machine whirs to life, emitting a purple light before something emerges. A spectral eel darts out and latches onto Crawford's face. Eels! But the man thinks quickly and shuts off the machine, causing the eel to vanish entirely. Crawford then rushes to the door of Dr. Edward Pretorius and exclaims that the resonator is working and that his new equation was the key. The two men return to the resonator.
My God.
They flip the resonator on and begin to tremble, stating that they can feel the resonator, well, resonating. Crawford realizes that the machine is malfunctioning, but Dr. Pretorius doesn't listen when he warns to shut the resonator down.
It's running itself! Something's coming.
Their neighbor wakes up and reports a disturbance, but then her dog Bunny rushes out, seemingly drawn to the resonator. She enters the house and we hear a commotion coming from upstairs before an axe breaks through the door and Crawford sprints out. The cops show up just then and arrest Crawford, and we see Bunny licking away at the body of Dr. Pretorius. Sometime later, we meet Dr. Catherine McMichaels as she enters the local loony bin. She's been called in to assess if Crawford is insane or if he's just playing up his story about Dr. Pretorius' death. When she enters Crawford's room, we learn a little bit about him. He was a physicist who was assisting with Dr. Pretorius' experiments. They had a theory that Crawford believes to be confirmed, where the pineal gland has a dormant function of a sixth sense, a sense that allows humans to peer into unseen worlds and see the creatures that are all around us at all times. He says that he destroyed the resonator because something came through that killed Dr. Pretorius.
It ate him. Bit off his head. Like a gingerbread man.
Dr. McMichaels wants to do a CAT scan on Crawford, and when they get the results, they see that his pineal gland is engorged and potentially growing. McMichaels no longer believes that he is completely crazy. She wonders if the experiments that Crawford assisted in caused the growth, and she wants to recreate his experiments to see if they can get some answers on what exactly happened. Crawford is released into Dr. McMichaels' care, and after strong-arming him with the choice of recreating the experiment or staying in the loony bin for life, Crawford agrees to help. As they leave, we meet the bodyguard, Bubba.
I used to play pro football. We were all crazy.
Bubba trips on the electrical wires, and we learn that they had to rewire the entire house because the resonator required so much power, and that the fuses are in the basement. When they get to the attic, Crawford begins to relive that night.
That's where it ate him.
He begins the work of fixing the resonator right away and gets it operational by the morning. Before he switches on the resonator, he warns Bubba and McMichaels to stand still, saying that if they don't move, then the beings from the other plane won't be able to see them. And then he flips the machine on. The purple light begins to glow, and they all seem to feel the effects, causing each of them to, let's say, feel the big happy.
Oh, man.
After a moment, they see jellyfish-like creatures floating above them, and Bubba can't help but reach out. The jelly grabs his arm and bites, but Bubba throws it off without issue. Crawford warns that something is coming before we hear the voice of Dr. Pretorius call out. The man appears from the shadows, and when Crawford says that he saw the doctor die, he says that that's not true, and that he was just transported beyond, and that now he is the master of this place.
Touch me, if it pleases you, if it helps you understand.
When Crawford touches him, his skin is pliable and easily morphs. Pretorius says that it's only a body and that his mind has created it, before sloughing his own face off and causing it to morph and transform. Before things go further, Crawford shuts the resonator off. A bit later, McMichaels seems oddly chipper and acknowledges that Crawford is both innocent and not insane. But she drops a bombshell when she mentions that she wants to run the experiment again to log the results and to learn more about what Dr. Pretorius has become. She believes that through the experiments and research of the pineal gland, they may be able to cure a number of mental conditions. But despite her pleading, both Bubba and Crawford shut that idea down. They head to bed, but Dr. McMichaels can't sleep. She touches her forehead before seemingly being drawn to the resonator. She flips the machine on. Crawford's forehead begins to pulse and bulge, and he wakes up and runs to the attic, demanding her to turn it off. She refuses before pulling Crawford into a kiss, which he can't help but return. Pretorius suddenly appears, but this time he's looking much different. When Crawford goes to turn the machine off, Pretorius grabs McMichaels and threatens to kill her if he moves closer to the machine. He demands that everyone join him, but Crawford runs out of the room, wanting to cut the power. However, when he gets to the basement, a large leech with teeth is guarding the box, and Crawford realizes that the resonator is getting stronger, and now the wavelengths reach all the way throughout the house. McMichaels asks what Pretorius wants, and he says that he wants to kiss her before morphing even further and beginning to consume her head. Bubba hears the commotion in the basement and rushes to help with a knife in hand. Crawford is grabbed by the leech, and seeing no other option, Bubba yanks the cords and shuts down the power, freeing McMichaels and a now completely bald Crawford. McMichaels says that she's learned that she will have to do the experiment alone, saying that the presence of other people caused her to become distracted.
I know this behavior. I've seen it in the streets. You may be a scientist, lady, but right now you're acting like a junkie.
Oh, just take him and leave.
Bubba decides that they will all be leaving, and he goes to prepare the van. In the basement, we see volts of electricity begin to spark at the wires. Then, we see some unknown force reconnect the resonator. Crawford shoots awake, realizing that Pretorius is doing something from the other plane, and they run up to try and destroy the machine. Bubba cuts through the wires with an axe, but tendrils of electricity still connect. Bugs begin to swarm him, covering his face and limbs, leaving a moment later after consuming most of his flesh. From the corner, we see the shadow form of Pretorius before Crawford grabs at his head in pain.
Humans are such easy prey.
He says that Crawford is becoming a creature that has never existed before, and that he is evolving. A tendril emerges from Crawford's forehead, causing him to see the world in a whole new way.
Oh, it's so beautiful. So beautiful.
Pretorius grabs McMichaels, but as she's being dragged away, she sprays the resonator with an extinguisher, shutting the machine down. It sparks back to life a second later, so she sprays it again before going to check on Crawford. We then cut to Crawford laying on an operating table, seeing the tendril still active from his forehead. The doctor leaves the room, where we see Dr. McMichaels is now telling her story to the lead detective of the case. He blames her for ruining Crawford's mind and causing Bubba's death. She is admitted into the psychiatric hospital, where the doctor then recommends that she gets electroshock therapy. We see Crawford wake up and sneak from the operating room. He tries to eat, but the food tastes rotten and he spits it out. His tentacle then leads him into a lab. The doctor realizes that Crawford is gone, and when she hears the commotion going on in the lab, she finds him chowing down on human brains.
What is happening to me?
When she's leading him back to the operating room, Crawford is suddenly drawn to the doctor. He attacks and begins to suck out her brain. When McMichaels is being strapped to a table, she's able to blindside the doctor and knock him out cold. She rushes out to the van, where Crawford sees her escape. He calls out to her, but she doesn't hear, and he's forced to hide in the shadows. An ambulance then shows up, and Crawford attacks the paramedics. He steals the ambulance and drives away. McMichaels goes back to the mansion and plants a bomb on the resonator, but as she's leaving, Crawford shows up and grabs her from behind. He tries to suck out her brain, but McMichaels bites down on his tentacle and seems to snap him out of his trance. We see sparks come from the fuse box, and the resonator suddenly reactivates. Pretorius grabs McMichaels, but Crawford calls out to him, saying that he was a terrible scientist and he never truly understood what pleasure was before he runs away. Pretorius chases him down and bites on his head. McMichaels is able to escape from her binds, but as she's running down the stairs, we see what has become of Crawford. She's forced to run back up the stairs, but only has 30 seconds before her bomb goes off. Pretorius grabs her, but suddenly stops. We see Crawford claw from Pretorius's body, his mind taking control for a time. He tells her to run before he and Pretorius continue to fight for control of the body. At the last second, McMichaels jumps from the window. She looks up at the burning house, and when the onlookers ask her what happened, she cries and then laughs maniacally. And that is where the movie ends. This movie is bizarre and fascinating. I love how flawed the characters are. Each of the scientists choose the experiments over any real morality, and that combined with the effects of the resonator made the pacing consistent and believable, honestly. I'm a huge Jeffrey Combs fan, and this movie is a perfect example of why. The way that he portrays his characters is always his own unique style, something that is weird and fidgety, and something that no other actor has ever really conveyed for me. The story in itself is also just a unique character, taking the idea of unseen worlds to an odd extreme by combining it with the idea of pleasure. It was such an odd vessel to use to explore the unknown, but one that I thought was strangely intriguing. The idea of knowing that what lies beyond is dangerous and far more than what we could possibly comprehend, but having your body and mind betray your rationality with seemingly addictive pleasure is such a cool and crazy thought that really portrays some of the oddities of humanity. If you can't tell, I really love this movie. It's got the perfect mix of weird and wonderful, and I just love the idea of what came before Dr. Pretorius from beyond. If you enjoyed this breakdown, then don't forget to leave a like and subscribe so that you don't miss out on the next one. And if you'd like to see more movies like this, then check out the 80s movies playlist. But yeah, remember to stay still if you find yourself in the beyond. Bye-bye.
Don't move. Can't see us if we don't move.